Hi, this is Bob Brown, and my one video got cut short. I always make my videos in my kitchen. I'm like the character in The Devil and Daniel Webster. Daniel Webster, I don't trust parlors. I do everything in the kitchen. And that's Stephen Bennett's, or Benet's story, the Faustian, an American Faustian tale. So the final book I didn't get to say in my other video is a collection of poems by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, the Song of Hiawatha. It's not about the Lakota, it's about the Ojibwa Indians, Native Americans, who are mostly in the Wisconsin, Michigan, and Canada, north of Lake Erie area. And they're there to this day. And I've actually worked with them. I worked at a company on the other side of Lake Erie. I'm from Cleveland, outside of Lake Erie, in a small town there in Canada. Our company had a business there, and the general wage workers were mostly Ojibwa from the local people, and they actually had painted medicine symbols on a lot of the machinery. It's very fascinating. So again, understanding culture and being in business and understanding, respecting people. Again, you don't have to agree with everything, and they don't have to agree with you, but you have to learn to respect. If you have if you treat people with dignity and respect in your business, you'll get along. And so it's very interesting that on the other side of Lake Erie from good old Cleveland, Ohio, you would encounter a different group of people, Ojibwa, and their culture. So the final book I want to point out, which may be slightly controversial, but is not meant to be, is Henry Wadsworth Longworth's collection of poems, or his Song of Hiawatha, a great American classic. This book has had a lot of influence on the perception of Native Americans by Europeans or non-Native Americans. But it's a book that you need to be aware of, because it has permeated our psyches in one way or the other. And that's the interesting thing about poetry in general and great literature, that even unbeknownst to us, it's in our psyche. So as a business person, I would, like I said, Black Elk Speaks, Joseph Brown's novel story of the Black Elk, as he recounts the traditions of the Lakota Sioux, is the one book you have to be aware of. And I think if you're encountering any area where there's going to be different culture, from Mexican American, from Irish American, you need to understand how they think, feel, and want to live their lives. So on this Thanksgiving Day 2016, hoping to find some type of resolution for the Lakota problems with the Standing Rock people, who are being, in my opinion, victims of human rights violation by the government. Water cannons, concussion grenades, really? I don't know. That's a pretty big lawsuit. Massive lawsuit coming your way. But I digress. So let me read from the prologue from Wadsworth's Longfellow, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, The Song of Hiawatha. One of my favorite poems. I know there's criticism of it, but So the prologue begins. Should you ask me, and this is about the Ojibwa, but I think it speaks to a lot of how the perception of Native Americans are in our psyches. Should you ask me whence these stories, whence these legends and traditions, were the odors of the forests, with the dew and the damp of meadows, with the curling smoke of wigwams, with the rushing of great rivers, with their frequent repetitions and their wild reverberations, as of thunder in the mountains, I should answer, I should tell you, from the forests and the prairies, from the great lakes of the Northland, from the lands of the Ojibwas, from the land of the Dakotas, from the mountains, moors, and fenlands, where the heron, the Shushuga, feeds amongst the reeds and rushes. I repeat them as I heard them from the lips of Nawahada. I apologize for my pronunciation. The musician, the sweet singer. Should you ask where Nawahada found these songs so wild and wayward, from these legends and traditions, I should answer, I should tell you, in the bird's nests of the forest, in the lodges of the beaver, in the hoofprints of the bison, in the eyrie of the eagle. All the wildfowl sang them to him in the moorland and the fenlands, in the melancholy marshes. Cheechawaack, the plover, sang them. Mahani, the loon, the wild goose, wawa, the blue heron, the shushuga, and the grouse, the moshukodosa. I apologize for my horrible pronunciation. And I'm going to skip down. And the pleasant watercourses, you could trace them through the valley, by the rushing in the springtime, by the alders in the summer, by the white fog in the autumn, by the black line in the winter. And beside them dwelt the singer in the vale of Tishawasha, in the green and silent valley. There he sang of Hiawatha, sang the song of Hiawatha, sang his wondrous birth and being, how he prayed and how he fasted, how he lived, toiled, and suffered, that the tribes of men might prosper, that he might advance his people. Ye who love the haunts of nature, love the sunshine of the meadow, love the shadow of the forest, love the wind among the branches, the rain shower and the snowstorm, and the rushing of great rivers, through the palisades of pine trees, and the thunder of the mountains, sorry, whose innumerable echoes flap like eagles in their eyries. Listen to these wild traditions, the Song of Hiawatha. Ye who love a nation's legends, love the ballad of a people, that like voices from afar off call to us to pause and listen. Speak in tones so plain and childlike, scarcely can the ear distinguish whether they are sung or spoken. Listen to this Indian legend, to the Song of Hiawatha. Now, this, of course, is not about the Dakota. This is a poem that Longfellow wrote about the Ojibwa people. But I think the great poetry in there speaks to what the people, the people of the Lakota are trying to defend. This is the core in their mind that they're trying to defend. This is the millennials coming to gather around them to defend them. This is the Iraq war veterans coming to defend. This is the dream, the myth, the philosophy of America, of the great land, of the beauteous wonder that North America is, and why we need to preserve it. This is what this company and the government are in contention with. You're in contention with this. You're not going to win. It's just not going to happen. You didn't need to do this. You needed to understand this first and then map your strategy and work with people. And a way could have been found. A way still could be found. I don't know if it will. But start there. If you're a business person and you have something that may be controversial, learn this first. Learn to read the soul of the people you're talking about. Not just come with your cognitive bias and say, well, this is how these people are. Or I have this spreadsheet, or I have this quantitative data, and it tells me everything I need to know. You need to really understand poetry because it speaks into the deep inner recesses of the human mind, psyche, and spirit. So that just follows up my book report from this old guy that's just rattling and raving on the internet. But I'd recommend reading this. Of course, Joseph Brown's book on Black Elk, somewhat controversial, but still a classic, and Power's book on the sacred language of the Lakota. I think as business people, we need to understand that we are in a sphere that's not just profit and loss, but we're in the human realm. As I tell everyone, every business exists for one purpose, to solve a problem. All businesses solve problems. If you're hungry, it solves your problem. If you need your roof fixed, a person will come and fix it, he'll solve your problem. All businesses exist to solve human problems. So at the core of everything is the human being. You can't have a business in this sense where I'm just going to water cannon people and throw concussion grenades and blow a New York City student's arm off and think I'm going to achieve anything other than, chaotic violence. So please read or think about reading some of these books. The Black Elk Speak has a lot of understanding of how the Lakota mind works and how they feel and believe, and the other books I've talked about. I hope this has been a help. Again, as I tell everyone, culture is everything. Understanding culture, even, this book in a way is a mirror. This is an American, European mirror of what they perceive, whether this is true or false, is the perception. In a way, this trumps fact. This isn't history. This is what I talk about. We're in a post-fact world. You live in a world of perceptions, feelings, and realities. And it's hard for some people to understand that, but this is what motivates people more than anything, is feelings and thoughts. Facts should, perhaps, but right now this is what's happening, and what the misperception of the government and the business and the people attacking these protesters. They're not really protesters, they're really people defending their way of life. They're defending their culture. And you have to respect that. The pipeline project as it stands now is dead. It's dead. It won't make it. It's over. They need to reset and start over. So again, this is Bob Brown. I hope you found this of some interest and help.